live at the Guiana Space Center for the 10th launch this year, and we are orbiting the MOHAMMED VI satellite for Thales Alenia Space and Airbus for the Kingdom of Morocco. It's travelling on board a Vega launcher tonight. There it is on the pad inside the top of the launch vehicle, going through the final preparations before launch. That's scheduled in just under 14 minutes' time. You can see the countdown there on the top right-hand side of your screen. Let's find out now more about tonight's mission and our satellite. Here's Stefan Israel.
Dear clients and partners, ladies and gentlemen, Arianespace is delighted to welcome you at the Guiana Space Center for this new Vega mission, the third this year with our lightweight space carrier, and the 11th since it was introduced at the CSG in 2012. For today's mission, Vega is about to launch the MOHAMMED VI satellite on behalf of the Kingdom of Morocco. This Earth observation satellite was produced by the Thales Alenia Space Consortium as prime contractor and Airbus as co-prime. We would like to thank the Kingdom of Morocco for entrusting us with the launch of their satellite for the first time. My thanks also go to Thales Alenia Space and Airbus, two long-standing partners of Arianespace. Vega is on the launch pad right now, and the final chronology operations are underway. The launch is imminent. After liftoff, Vega will head north in order to inject the satellite on a sun-synchronous orbit. Separation of satellite MOHAMMED VI will take place some 56 minutes after liftoff. I now invite you to share this long-awaited moment of liftoff. Go, Vega. Go, go, go. And safe trip to satellite MOHAMMED VI. Enjoy the show.
Stefan Israel, the CEO of Arianespace. Now, the Guiana Space Center is on the northeastern tip of South America, on the Amazonian coast, on the equator. And we can launch any satellite to any orbit from here. To do that, we have 3 different launch vehicles, and for anybody who's unfamiliar with them, Ariane 5 is the big one. It carries the heavy weights. Then the middle weight is the Soyuz launcher, the Russian launcher, and the light lifter is Vega. That's the one that we are using tonight. There it is on the pad. Flight number 11, VV11. It stands some 30 meters tall. That's roughly the same height as a booster on one Ariane 5, and it weighs roughly a third of its big sister, 38 meters tall there. 30 meters tall, rather. And if we take a look inside, you can see at the top of the launcher, that's where our satellite is, inside what we call the fairing. That's the pointy nose, if you like, of the launch vehicle. And it's the MOHAMMED VI satellite, an Earth observation satellite built by Thales Alenia Space and Airbus for the Kingdom of Morocco, weighing just over 1 ton. We have a number of different control rooms here at the Guiana Space Center. There is only one mission control, however, and we have a number of different teams here. This is the Flight Directorate. This is the team, Arianespace top management, who take all the decisions in the event of unplanned situations. They are focusing hard at this point before the launch. They are in what we call the fishbowl, which is where all the operational teams sit, and all the information comes into the Mission Control Center. Back to the satellite, someone who knows it well is the project manager. The Vega launch vehicle will inject the MOHAMMED VI satellite into sun-synchronous orbit. The MOHAMMED VI satellite is an Earth observation satellite built for the Kingdom of Morocco by a consortium led by Thales Alenia Space as prime contractor and Airbus as co-prime. As the system prime contractor, Thales Alenia Space supplied the payload, including the optical instrument, the image transmission subsystem, and the ground segment for image processing and production. Airbus was in charge of the satellite, its integration, as well as supplying the platform and the ground segment for mission planning and satellite control. The MOHAMMED VI satellite will be used in particular for mapping and land surveying, regional development, agricultural monitoring, as well as the prevention and management of natural disasters, monitoring changes in the environment and desertification. 8 minutes and 45 seconds to launch now. We had the final weather check. That was about 1 minute ago, and the weather status panel is green. And there is Natalie Philippe again here in the fishbowl. This is the program director's desk. The program directors are in charge of the satellite contract for their respective companies. They signed this particular contract 4 years ago, so these teams have been working together on the MOHAMMED VI satellite for 4 years. As for the launcher, Vega, well, that is built by the Italian company Avio, depending on your pronunciation, at their plant in Colleferro in Italy. And the motors are made by Safran in Germany and France. All of those sections are shipped here to French Guiana for assembly, and the process of assembling the launcher and the satellite is called the launch campaign. Teams have been working here for 7 weeks to prepare.
The campaign preparation of launcher VV11 began on the 20th of September, with the PAT stage being transferred to the mobile gantry, which is the Vega assembly building. The first phase of this campaign essentially consisted in the mechanical assembly operations, with the assembly of the Z23 and Z9 solid propellant boosters, and finally the fourth Avon stage, which was mounted onto the launcher on the 6th of October. The 2 weeks that followed were devoted to electrical and fluid functional tests, which all went successfully. The MOHAMMED VI satellite, built by Airbus and Thales Alenia Space, arrived in Guyana from Toulouse on the 22nd of September on board an Antonov 124. The satellite container was then trucked over to building S3B, where the satellite preparation and filling phases were to take place. After the electrical and fluid fit checks that lasted for 3 weeks, the satellite was filled with hydrazine and then pressurized for 2 days by the Ariane group team from Lampolthausen. The review to start the combined operations was held on Thursday, 19 October. The satellite was strapped onto its PLA 937 adapter by the Arianespace team on Friday, 20 October, and then encapsulated on the next day. The upper composite, which houses the satellite encapsulated into the fairing, was then transferred to the mobile gantry and integrated into the launcher on the 26th of October. The remaining operations saw to the filling of the Avon tanks. The dress rehearsal took place nominally on Friday, 3 November. Apart from the charging of batteries, there will be no more satellite-related operation until launch. The Vega VV11 launcher is now ready to go.
To allow the Vega launcher to take off, its first stage, the PAT, will have to build up 2,200 kilonewtons of thrust. The first flight phases of the 3 solid propellant stages, PAT, Z23 and Z9, will be monitored by the Galileo telemetry station, which will cover the flight for 7 minutes. The last stage, which houses the Avon liquid propellant engine, will proceed to its transfer orbit after an initial boost of 8 minutes. This will be tracked by the telemetry stations Bermuda and Saint-Hubert in Canada. After a long ballistic phase, the Avon will initiate a second 2-minute boost to circularize the orbit, tracked by the new Norcia station in Australia. Once locked into this final orbit, satellite Mohammed VI will be separated from the rest of the launch vehicle. And that's what's going to be happening over the next just under an hour. And I've now returned to my commentary box in the Mission Control Center, looking down at these boards and these teams. A couple of key people. This is the mission director in charge of the launch campaign. And the range
attention pour la séquence finale lanceur.
Operations manager.
Top à 0 moins 4 minutes.
He calls out all the major events, and he's just called out the beginning of the last 4 minutes, the synchronized sequence. Computers are now controlling all the final checks in the countdown, and they manage an impressive list of operations. All of that information is sent to these boards. We call these the status panels, and they are representing the 3 main systems across the base: the rocket and pad, the satellites, and the range. And a quick translation for you. The base at the top, logistics, safety. Mesure is the telemetry. Localization is radar. Telecoms, obviously. Ensemble de lancement is the launch, the range. And then, of course, the Vega launcher, the weather, and our satellite. The teams in the Launch Control Center are watching over all of these operations. The Launch Control Center is based close to the pad, about roughly 1 kilometer. And they're in a protected blockhouse. And they are, of course, concentrating hard at this point just before the launch. Once Vega has lifted off, it will take approximately 55 minutes to deliver the Mohammed VI satellite to its orbit in space. And after that, the satellite will continue orbiting on its own, on a sun-synchronous orbit. 2 minutes now, Vega standing tall. We have 3 working launch zones here at the Guiana Space Center, 1 for each rocket. And this is the Vega launch site. It's called SLV, Site de Lancement Vega. It was built on the first Ariane launch pad. That was Ariane 1, which launched on the 24th of December, 1979. Some of you will remember that. The final countdown started just over 9 hours ago. The mobile gantry was withdrawn about 3 hours and 15 minutes ago. It took 45 minutes to do that. Coming up to 1 minute.
À tous de DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute. Top à 0 moins 1 minute.
We are 1 minute to launch. Our very best wishes to all the teams, to the Mohammed VI satellite teams and the Kingdom of Morocco, to the industrial consortium led by Thales Arianespace and Airbus, and to the teams on the ground who are waiting to take over the satellite. Let's sit back now and watch the launch. Our very best wishes.
À tous de DDO, attention pour les 2 comptes finales. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. À image P80, décollage.
They are off. The Mohammed VI satellite is on its way. Vega number 11 is blazing a trail across the equatorial skies over the Guiana Space Center. He's telling us the propulsion is normal. We're heading direct north, out towards the Caribbean. We broke the sound barrier and reached Mach 1 after 30 seconds.
Acquisition de la mesure pour la station de Saint-Jean-du-Maroni.
Picking up the signal at the station in Saint-Jean-du-Maroni, which is here at the Space Center, or just outside it. We can hear the rumble of Vega reaching us. The job of the first 3 stages
est normale, le pilotage est calme.
is to get us away from the Earth. Vega is pushing itself away from gravity. And we need a lot of firepower to do that. We're burning the P80 first stage. P for premier étage. It's all going normally according to plan. Premier étage means first stage. 80 is the mass of propellant. Roughly, it's actually 89 tons. Bottom of the screen, our altitude on the left, 53 kilometers above Earth. Our distance is a straight line if you were to draw
Séparation P80.
A straight line from the pad.
Allumage Z23.
And here we are separating the first stage, it's burnt its fuel, and we've switched on now the second stage. The Z23
La propulsion
burns
est normale.
for about 1 minute and 40 seconds. Z for Zefiro, which is an Italian wind, a bit like the Sirocco or the Mistral. 23, because it burns 23 tons of solid propellant. Our speed on the bottom right, nearly 3 kilometers per second, not per hour, per second. We're getting close now to what we call the Kármán line. That's 100 kilometers above Earth. We've just hit it. It's named after the Hungarian-American engineer, aerospace engineer, Theodor von Kármán, and it's the border with space. Basically, the higher you go, the thinner the atmosphere becomes, and the faster an aeroplane has to travel to stay up. Once you get into space, the air is too thin to support wings.
Pilotage est calme.
And top right-hand side is the trajectory, showing us the flight path, if you like, and the white cross is the actual position of the launch vehicle.
Séparation Z23.
Separation of the Z23.
Allumage Z9.
Ignition of the next stage coming up, the Z9. There it goes. And then we can expect the fairing, the nose of the vehicle, to fall away. So we no longer need the fairing because we are effectively in space. We don't have enough friction anymore to cause us any difficulties, so the satellite is safe to be exposed to space. Now, Vega is particularly well suited to launching Earth observation satellites. This is the 23rd one to travel on board this versatile light launcher. And there are 9 more in the order book. Over now to the manufacturer, Avio.
The Vega launcher is the smallest of the European launchers operated by Arianespace. It has set a world record for small launchers in terms of precision and reliability, with 10 perfect launches in a row from its maiden flight. This high level of confidence has led Arianespace to recently sign a new contract for 6 Vegas and 4 Vega Cs for a total of 10 flights to occur between 2019 and 2021. I am now in our plant in Colleferro, where we produce both Vega and the boosters
La
of
trajectoire est
Ariane.
normale.
Here we are developing Vega C, which will fly for the first time in 2019. Behind me, you see the first Zefiro 40 solid rocket motor ready to be sent for static firing test. The Zefiro 40 motor is the second stage of the new Vega C and is nearly 8 meters long, has a diameter of 2.3 meters, and contains around 40 tons of propellant. The loaded case will be sent soon to the test bench for static firing. The Avio team, together with its industrial partners, Arianespace and ESA, are ready to demonstrate the strengths of Europe's collaboration in the space industry. I therefore wish the best success to the 11th mission.
La trajectoire est normale.
And the first 3 contracts for Vega C are a constellation for Airbus, an Earth observation satellite, and a Cosmo SkyMed second generation, which was also built by Thales Alenia Space. Separation now of the Z9 third stage. So the main propulsion phase of the flight is now over. We've got away from the Earth, and the upper stage, the AVUM or AVUM, is getting ready to switch on its engine in roughly 1 minute. The flight path takes us north, heading up over the Caribbean, along the east coast of the US and Canada. And we cross the Arctic and come back down to the west coast
Acquisition de la télémesure par la station de Bermude.
of Australia. And he's announcing that we are picking up the signal at the ground station in Bermuda. It's a Caribbean island, and we're using telemetry to track the vehicle. During the flight, Vega sends information to ground stations along its path. And they send that data here to the teams at the Guiana Space Center, which allows Arianespace to monitor the flight in real time. So the AVUM upper stage is waiting to switch on its engine. Here we go. Scheduled.
Premier allumage AVUM.
And we have confirmation that the AVUM upper stage has now switched its engine on for the first of 2 burns. It's going to burn for nearly 8 minutes. So we started the next phase of the journey. Observation from space is vital for helping us to better understand our planet, and the MOHAMMED VI satellite will play an important part in that. Morocco is a modern society focused on the future with a very real commitment to environmental principles. And of course, they hosted COP22 in Marrakesh this time last year. And if you've been to Morocco, you will know that it is a truly magnificent country with mountains, beaches, deserts, and it has a rich and important biodiversity and a long cultural history spanning several thousand decades. It's blessed with breathtaking landscapes.
La trajectoire est normale.
What a very beautiful country. And during that film, we picked up the signal in Saint-Hubert, or St. Hubert, which is the tracking station in Quebec, in Canada. The town of St. Hubert is just outside Montreal. And actually, the aerospace industry is important there. The Canadian Space Agency, I believe, has its head office in the borough. The MOHAMMED VI satellite is the result of very important collaboration between Europe's two biggest space industries. Thales Alenia Space as system prime contractor and Airbus as co-prime. Here's the CEO of Thales Alenia Space, Jean-Louis Gall.
I'm delighted and very proud to share with you this exceptional moment in the life of a space program, the launch of a satellite. The MOHAMMED VI satellite will be an important infrastructure for the Kingdom of Morocco, availing itself of a very powerful Earth observation system for civil and government applications. Undoubtedly, this satellite will boost the Moroccan economy and will be the first step towards a constellation comprising two satellites built by Thales Alenia Space as prime contractor of the consortium and Airbus as co-prime. On behalf of our industrial consortium and of the Thales Group, I'd like to extend my warmest thanks to the Kingdom of Morocco for the trust placed with us, as well as the teams of Thales Alenia Space, Airbus, Arianespace, and all our industrial partners for their tremendous work and quality of our cooperation. This demonstrates the excellence of the French industry in this field.
And today is the 150th time that Arianespace has launched a satellite that Thales Alenia Space has built. And there are 15 more Thales Alenia Space satellites in the order book, so it's a very long and fruitful relationship. Coming up to 15 minutes into the flight, nearly 300 kilometers above our Earth. We've traveled a distance along the ground of 5,000 kilometers, and our speed is nearly 8 kilometers per second, ladies and gentlemen. That's fast. We're burning the Avum upper stage. It's getting ready to switch its engine off in roughly a minute's time. It actually uses a clever system called orbit-optimized guidance attitude to stay on track. It continually recalculates its position to make sure that it's exactly on the right course. And then if it deviates, it corrects its position and comes back to the correct trajectory. And we have confirmation there that the Avum upper stage has now switched off its engine. So we're entering what's called the first ballistic phase, and ballistic means without propulsion. So we're traveling high enough and fast enough to cruise without the engine, which we're doing for about 36 minutes. And if you might have noticed back there that the upper composite, that's what we call the upper stage with the satellite attached, was actually rotating. And that's because it's in what we call the barbecue phase, rotating as if on a spit to maintain thermal homogeneity, to keep even temperatures. As you can imagine, it's very hot when you're facing the sun and very cold when you're facing space. So the Avum upper stage will switch its engine on again 52 minutes after liftoff for a second burn. But for now, we're going to take a break and come back to you roughly 10 minutes before Avum switches its engine back on again. And our live commentary will resume at 2:26 in the morning, Universal Time. That's in Morocco as well, Morocco time. And that's 11:26 in the evening here in Kourou. We'll see you back here in 26 minutes and leave you with a replay of that beautiful launch. Hello again and welcome back. You join us live at the Guiana Space Center and we're orbiting the MOHAMMED VI satellite for Thales Alenia Space and Airbus for the Kingdom of Morocco. And we're nearly 44 minutes into the flight. We've been coasting without the engine for just under half an hour. This is called a ballistic phase, traveling without propulsion, without the engine. The AVM upper stage, which is what's left of the launcher, is scheduled to switch its engine back on again in about 8 minutes or so for a short burn before getting ready to start the process of separating the satellite. That's all to come, but first let's take a look at the story so far. We lifted off from the pad 44 minutes and 40 seconds ago from the Guiana Space Center on board a Vega launcher. VV11, flight number 11, the 11th Vega to launch since it took to the skies in 2012. It was a perfect liftoff. The first 3 stages flew according to plan, each one burning its propellant. The propelled phase of the flight lasted 6 minutes and 30 seconds, and that got us into space. The next phase started when the AVM upper stage switched its engine on and took the wheel. Its job is to deliver our satellite to its orbit. Then it switched its engine off and we have been coasting ever since in a ballistic phase, coasting without the engine. It's due to switch its engine on again in about 6 minutes, and it'll start separating the satellite roughly 3 minutes later. Satellites and their associated ground systems are huge and complex engineering projects, and building them involves a range of different contractors and companies all working together. The MOHAMMED VI satellite is the result of excellent collaboration between the industrial teams, Thales Alenia Space and Airbus, and the multidisciplinary Moroccan teams. In fact, these teams have been working together for 4 years. And it's the quality of this excellent teamwork which has allowed the development of an advanced satellite with very cutting-edge technology. Building a satellite system is a feat of human engineering, and it's also quite an adventure for all those involved. Thales Alenia Space and Airbus have led the teams.
Hello, my name is Jean-Marie Buxebelt. I'm the Thales Alenia Space Program Director, and I work alongside Didier Radola, my counterpart at Airbus. Together, we'd like to review the range operations of this campaign. First of all, I'd like to thank all the teams who contributed day after day to this major program for the Kingdom of Morocco. And I'd like to extend a special greeting to the Moroccan team in charge of the program, to our teams in Cannes, Toulouse, Aix-Charleroi and Madrid. And I'd also like to thank the representatives of the French administration who assisted us in this program for their input on regulatory matters.
Hello, Jean-Marie. Of course, I'd like to join you in this round of thanks. The project has been very well managed, and I'd like to insist on perfect coordination with the Moroccan team in charge of the program for rising up to this challenge efficiently, competently, and always with a constructive frame of mind over the 4 past years. Thanks to all the stakeholders, we are here today right on time for the launch of the Mohammed VI satellite.
In order to develop this satellite, a specific organization has been put in place between Thales Arianespace and Airbus. This is not the first time that this has been the case, as we've had the opportunity of working together in the fields of telecommunications and observation. To illustrate this partnership, I'd like to share just one example. Every time a difficulty would come up, we'd together evaluate which partner would be best suited to solve the issue in the overarching interest of the project. This is a very different relationship than a standard client-supply relationship, and this worked wonderfully.
For the range operations campaign, we've worked, as we always do with Arianespace. The satellite and launch vehicle teams are used to working together and have showed how professional they are. We would like to take this opportunity to thank Arianespace and CNES for their efficiency and reactivity in the course of this campaign. This launch today is not the end of the program, just a passage between the terrestrial phase of development and testing of this satellite and its operational phase on orbit, and we all hope that this passage will be a real success.
And now let's wish good luck to the Mohammed VI satellite.
So some really important teamwork there. We are tracking the launcher, as we said earlier, using telemetry, and we're coming into the range shortly of the new Norcia tracking station. It's an ESA, that's the European Space Agency, deep space tracking station, 150 kilometres north of Perth in Western Australia. And it's used for communications for scientific space probes. It was used for Mars Express, Rosetta, which you remember landed on a comet, Venus Express, and Gaia, amongst others. It has a 4.5-metre dish.
Acquisition de la télémesure par la station de Norcia en Australie.
There we go, confirmation. It's picked up the signal there, and it can see objects 100 kilometres away. And the tracking stations send the information, the data, to these teams here at the Guiana Space Centre. This is the CVI, the Real-Time Visual Control, or Immediate Visual Control Team. They monitor how the flight's progressing in real time.
Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
He's telling us everything is going normally. And they pass that information on to the Range Operations Manager in the Mission Control Center so that he can then announce the confirmation of major events to everybody listening across the range. They also analyze the information after the flight to see how things can be improved, and that's called the Level 0 flight evaluation. Over 51 minutes now, getting closer to ignition of the AVM for its second burn. You may have noticed we were twisting, and for anybody who's joining us, we can see there that we are still in the barbecue phase. The satellite twists as if it's rotating on a spit to keep the temperatures nice and even. The second burn of the AVM upper stage will be to circularize our orbit. At the moment, we're on an elliptical orbit. That's an oval shape.
Deuxième allumage à VOOM.
There we go, we've switched the engine on again. So now we are going to burn for just under 2 minutes. So to turn our egg-shaped orbit into a circle shape,
Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
We need this short burn, and he's telling us that everything's going according to plan. The AVM upper stage is the smart stage of the launcher, the
La
clever bit.
trajectoire est normale.
He's telling us the trajectory is normal. Its job is to deliver the spacecraft to a very specific orbit. In fact, it's designed to inject different payloads into different orbits. And to do that, it can switch its engine on and off up to 20
Il reste 30
times.
secondes de propulsion.
30 seconds of propulsion left. It uses little nozzles which give bursts of hydrazine gas to help it to orientate itself. And so that way it can move in every direction. There's a good image of the new Norcia tracking station down there on the west coast of Australia. This is the station tracking the separation and all these activities now. The men and women there focusing hard.
La propulsion est normale.
Normal propulsion. Curvature of the Earth and our atmosphere, that very thin blue line.
Deuxième extinction, AVUM.
And the AVUM upper stage, or AVUM, has switched its engine off. And we are now in the orientation phase. Getting ready now to release the satellite. We are on orbit, traveling there at bottom right of the screen, 7.63 kilometers per second at an altitude of 630. We've traveled nearly 18,000 kilometers from the pad in a straight line along the ground. The upper stage has to release the satellite onto a very precise orbit so that it can then continue on its own. And you can see on the top right-hand side of your screen our trajectory. You can see how we started by climbing very steeply, then we plateaued out for a bit, and then we climbed higher again. And the cross is the actual position of the launcher. Looks like it's all happening very slowly, but of course it's actually happening very fast. We are hurtling along at just under 8 kilometers a second. We have separation of the satellite. Mohammed VI satellite. The Kingdom of Morocco has a new satellite. Congratulations to everybody. The Mohammed VI satellite is now heading out on its own. A culmination of many years of work for some and the beginning for others. Shortly, the satellite will start deploying its solar panels, unfolding its wings, just like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. After 4 years on Earth, from concept and design to construction, the satellite is now starting its new life in space. It's an important day. Our warmest congratulations to the Mohammed VI satellite teams and the Kingdom of Morocco. Here was the launch about nearly 57 minutes ago. We lifted off from the pad at the CSG, the Guiana Space Center, with a perfect liftoff. The 11th successful launch in a row for Vega. 8 of those for Earth observation, and today is the 13th Earth observation satellite to launch on board the light lifter in the Arianespace family. The MOHAMMED VI satellite becomes the 26th satellite to be launched by Vega. Lots of smiles there. Everybody deserves a big pat on the back for a job well done. The MOHAMMED VI satellite is going to do some very important work. It's an Earth observation satellite, and it will be used for mapping and land surveying activities, for regional development, agricultural monitoring, the prevention and management of natural disasters, very important, and equally important, monitoring changes in the environment and desertification. Right now, the operations teams on the ground are piloting the satellite from the Mission Control Center in Morocco. They've taken on effectively flying the new satellite, and our very best wishes to them for the next phase of their operations. This is a very successful mission. All the teams congratulating each other and shaking hands. A job well done. We're waiting now for Luce Fabregat to come and start the official speeches. Arianespace, Luce Fabregat.
And dear guests, Arianespace is delighted to confirm that the MOHAMMED VI satellite is successfully separated on its targeted sun-synchronous orbit. This is a third successful launch for Vega this year, and its 11th success for its clients and partners since the launch vehicle began its career at the Guyana Space Center. Congratulations to everyone. On the occasion of the launch of the Earth observation MOHAMMED VI satellite, we're delighted that the Kingdom of Morocco is amongst the partners of Arianespace. We would like to thank you for the trust you have placed in us. It is proof that the Vega launch vehicle has quickly established its reputation of quality and reliability. May I express my profound gratitude to the director of the head of the Moroccan delegation, Mr. Karim Tashmouati, who honors us with his presence tonight, as well as to the entire Moroccan team whose contribution to the industrial consortium has led to the success of this project. I hope this successful launch will be the start of a long and fruitful collaboration. And I do think that it is late now in Morocco, but I think I'd like to express my appreciation to all those of us who've been watching us line in Morocco, so we wish you the very best for your satellite. I would also like to express my gratitude to the consortium that built this satellite. My thanks to Thales and Arianespace, our direct client for this flight, and the prime contractor of the consortium. Thanks to Airbus, the co-prime, for building this satellite. The Mohammed VI satellite is the 150th satellite built by Thales and Arianespace and launched by Arianespace. I'd like to take this opportunity to extend my warm greetings to its CEO, Mr. Jean-Loïc Gall. With 12 Thales and Arianespace satellites in the Arianespace order book, of which 8 O3B satellites house this long-standing partnership. The Mohammed VI satellite is the 119th satellite built by Airbus to be placed into orbit by Arianespace. My thanks to the Senior VP of Earth Observation, Navigation and Science, Mrs. Mathilde Royer-Germain, whom we're delighted to have with us tonight. Over many years, Arianespace has built a special trust relationship with Airbus, with 15 satellites in our order book, as well as the planned 650 satellites to deliver the OneWeb constellation. So we'll continue seeing each other in the coming years, and going forward, we'll be delighted to continue having you as our guests and working with you, of course. Tonight's launch is the 8th Vega flight dedicated to Earth observation, making the Mohammed VI satellite the 13th in this category to be put into orbit by the Light Launch Vehicle, which is part of the European range, the 64th Earth observation satellite, all launch vehicles included. Arianespace has invested a lot in the segment that reflects our values. Space for the benefit of a better life on Earth. European launch vehicles are an adapted response to the needs of this dynamic market, as reflected in our order book, where 30% of satellites are Earth observation satellites and where 9 Vega missions are in the pipeline. This 11th successful launch for Vega is fully in line with the consecutive years of success it has delivered at the Guiana Space Center. This performance reflects the exceptional operational quality of this latest addition to the European range of satellite launchers. Since it began its career in Guyana in 2012, Vega has fulfilled its mission to perfection for institutional and commercial clients alike, and for many applications, mostly for Earth observation as well as scientific research through the technological and educational missions as well. May I now congratulate our partners who have delivered this Vega launch, making it the 10th success of the year, starting with Avio, the industrial prime contractor of Vega. For this second campaign, they have successfully carried out with our new operational configuration, making it more and more competitive and reliable as ever. Complimenti a tutti. My very warm thanks to the CEO of Avio, Mr. Giulio Ranzo, for being with us tonight, and I wish Vega many more great successes. Looking forward to Vega C. We work round the clock with our partner for its maiden flight in 2019 for this highly promising launch vehicle with a bright future. My congratulations and thanks also go to the European Space Agency and national agencies behind ISA and the Italian agency for their continued support to the Vega program. Please allow me to take this opportunity to thank Daniel Nusswander, the director of ESA Launch Vehicles. And many thanks also to CNES, our daily partner here at the Guiana Space Center. And many thanks to those who support us here in French Guiana and to all those we work with at the launch base. Obviously, I would like to express my appreciation and congratulations to my Arianespace colleagues who've been instrumental in this 267th success from the Guiana Space Center with the launch vehicle from the Ariane family. There's only one launch to go to conclude this very successful year. Now, I would like to invite our clients and partners to join us on stage.
The floor is yours.
So in the name of the Moroccan delegation present in Kourou, I would like to express our intent joy and relief also that we feel in this exceptional moment. These satellite Mohammed VI, which is now on orbit, was and is the pride of all Moroccans and the Kingdom of Morocco. This project, which was wanted by His Majesty King of Morocco, is a technological adventure, an advanced technological adventure, which will allow high value-added applications, developments in such diverse areas as land surveying, mapping, environmental management, prevention of natural disasters and climatic disasters, land development, and also the follow-up of agricultural activities. This successful project today is undeniably the fruit of a solid, serious collaboration, exemplary cooperation between France and the Kingdom of Morocco. On this occasion, I would like to extend my warmest thanks to the Thales and Arianespace Airbus Consortium. Is leaders, experts, technicians, engineers for their serious involvement, the expertise that they no longer need to prove and which they contributed throughout the whole implementation of this project across the 4 last years. And my thanks also to the whole team of Arianespace for their excellent work and their outstanding contribution to the successful launch tonight. My thanks also to the Avio Group, the prime contractor for this launcher and this new success. I would like to greet my colleagues present here who worked for 4 years, day after day, with a great sense of responsibility in conducting this project. Therefore, a great success to Mohammed VI satellite. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank, of course, Arianespace and Avio for this beautiful launch, successful launch. I again thank the delegation of the Kingdom of Morocco present here for their trust, and also our partner Airbus for the quality of our cooperation. Great thanks also to all the teams, and in particular those of Thales and Arianespace, which demonstrated commitment, zeal, and high professionalism. Thank you all for your efforts and dedication. You may remember that 4 years ago, Karen, when we eventually signed this contract after almost 3 years of intensive negotiations, you'd asked us to launch the first satellite before the end of 2017. And we had answered that with Airbus that it would be a tough challenge for such an ambitious program. Well, today we're proud to say mission accomplished. Thales and Arianespace is ready to take up new challenges by your side, and we will devote the same level of energy to continue developing the current system and develop new ones that will contribute to placing the Kingdom of Morocco on the map of major space players. Having said this, the next step for the short term will consist in placing the satellite on dedicated orbit and validating the global system end-to-end. The work of the teams of Thales and Arianespace, BLES and Airbus, as well as the Moroccan engineers and technicians that we trained, has started already. I fully trust them to carry out this delicate task, after which we shall proceed to the formal delivery of the satellite system. So it happens that the launch tonight will coincide with Eid, a traditional festival in the Kingdom of Morocco. So Mabrouk, you know, is so dear to me. Thank you.
I'm honored and humbled to be with you tonight to celebrate the successful launch of the Mohammed VI satellite. Airbus is very proud to be the co-prime contractor of this mission. I'd like to sincerely thank the Kingdom of Morocco for the trust you've placed in our consortium. This launch rewards 4 years of rich and intense work between our teams. Obviously, my first thoughts go to the team from the Kingdom of Morocco, with whom we have established a true working relationship based on trust throughout this program. I would like to express my appreciation to the teams of Thales Arianespace, we've been working with since 2013 as part of this project, and the Arianespace teams for the successful launch. Finally, I'd like to express my congratulations to the Airbus teams for their hard work in delivering the satellite and ground control and missions segments. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the teams that assembled in Toulouse on the Airbus side for a joint transmission despite the late hour. Well, there are about 100 of them watching us right now. So this is the sixth launch of a satellite based on an Astrobus platform in 5 years, and the seventh export observation system placed into orbit for Airbus. Of course, our work doesn't stop here. Our teams, as we speak, are working on initializing and putting into operational service the Mohammed VI satellite. So good luck to Mohammed VI satellite. Once again, congratulations to all those involved in this remarkable success. Looking forward to meeting you again here on the 12th of December for our heavy launch Ariane 5 in its S version to place into orbit 4 Galileo satellites for the European Commission within the framework of contract with European Space Agency. Thank you once again to every one of you.
So it's mission accomplished once again. The Mohammed VI satellite has started its new life in space. Congratulations to the Kingdom of Morocco and to all the industrial teams involved in creating the Mohammed VI satellite, system led by Thales Arianespace and Airbus. The light lifter of the Arianespace family, Vega, has delivered its 13th Earth observation satellite and its 11th success in a row since its introduction in 2012. Our very best wishes now to the operational teams who are taking control of the new satellite, Mohammed VI. I'm Katie Haswell. I hope you've enjoyed our live coverage. Until next time, goodbye.
Allumage et décollage.